Hello everyone. So just moving from one moderation to another moderation, so we are back again on the fourth session of our summit. Esen Tümer, Başak Ozan Özparlak, Cansu Canca, thank you very much. You've just provided us very valuable information so far. And as we discussed in the opening session, what is ethics? It's a multidisciplinary concept, as I told you, and we actually need to have some different perspectives to understand ethics. We have quite interesting panelists. Altuğ, Mine, Güran, Connectivity Administrator at Tofaş, Esra, Özkan, Independent Digital Art Curator. So, from administration and from the art perspective, we'll speak about autonomous vehicles, connectivity, and digital art. So, that's going to be a quite different reflection of ethics in this panel. And so we also will have a short Q&A session. So I will start with Altuğ first. Welcome, by the way. Maybe you can introduce yourself very briefly for our audience. What is connectivity? What is connectivity management? Very briefly, please. I think you're muted.
Mute'dasınız sanırım. Şu anda yine gelmiyor. Şimdi bir ses geldi.
Now we can hear you.
Duyuyoruz.
Sanırım kulaklıkla ilgili bir sorun var. Ben onu çıkarayım.
Hiç sorun değil.
So we have a connectivity problem, I guess. Yes, absolutely.
Evet, bağlanamadım.
Güran. Actually, I'm a technology material engineer. Also, I had my postgraduate degree in materials, and I started to work at the automotive industry after my graduate studies, and I'm still working. For the last 9 years, I've been working at Tofaş, first procurement and business development. I worked for 8 years. And then I am now the administrator at the connectivity team, newly established at Tofaş. Of course, connective vehicles, it's a new thing also for Turkey, for automobiles. So I'm actually more than happy and excited that I'm working in one of the very first teams on connectivity in Turkey. It's a brand new world. We're trying to discover it also in automotive. And in a field so much theoretical information, what we're trying to do is find some ideas, find some views, and try to put them into practice. And about what connectivity is, I think your second question, especially about the automotive trends, let me just give information, especially in the upcoming 20 years in automotive, there'll be 4 main trends according to what the researchers are saying and the people working in the field. The first thing is connectivity, connected cars. The second thing is EV, electrical vehicle. And the third thing is shared economy, and therefore shared-based mobility solutions. It could be just in particular some shared vehicle use. And as you also mentioned, autonomous vehicles, as you also mentioned. There is actually a study, and in 2030, the main revenue from automotive industry, 8% of this will be through connected services and the ecosystem over the connected cars. So it means that by 2030, the team that I'm working now, what we mean by connectivity is actually there will be like $450 billion of a turnover that connectivity will make for the automotive industry. Connectivity or connected vehicles, I can say, is using actually internet-based technology. In that product, for example, there is actually a commercial module, GSM, accelerometer, and thanks to these devices or connections, you can actually, the vehicle owner can have access to data, retrieve data, make some update on the software, or with the IoT devices or with the other connected vehicles can possibly get connected through the internet. Therefore, it is just like actually quite a developed connection that you offer to the drivers, or some immediate, for example, notifications, and at the same time entertainment for the drivers. And the other thing is, of course, supporting the safe drive. Until 2030, and the number of connected cars will be over 700 million worldwide. So this is again actually some projections for 2030 in the study that I told you. So we're speaking about quite a high number in here. And there's several vehicles that are using, but we in Turkey at Tofaş, Fiat, my road friend, and we offer again one-stop solutions for all our colleagues. After the sales, there is a CTU, a telematic control unit that is installed. It is sold externally, I mean on demand, and we have several customers, users. By the end of 2018 it is introduced, so it's quite a brand new product, and in all the vehicles that we manufacture, these units will be an inboard part, so it will be heard more, I guess. At least I can say we will have over 200,000 connected cars by Tofaş in the near future. That's what we plan for. Perfect, a perfect introduction, really. I mean, in terms of connectivity and connected cars. And of course, you just help us to imagine what could happen in the future. So now I'd like to give the floor to Esra. Would you please introduce yourself, and then I'll get back to Altuğ, and we'll just get into more details with the questions, but if you can introduce yourself. Hello, Esra. Özkan, independent digital art curator. In contemporary Istanbul that I work as curator, and also at the DIC, the Digital Art Platform, I'm a founding member. And in digital arts, I can say in general, in Istanbul there are several projects, and I actually worked as the director. Just like actually the previous talk, I can say also in philosophy that I can focus on, but at the same time the digital times, by making some reference to the digital times, I continue with my works. What do I mean by this? Humanism, and in the anthropological world, the humanity changed from, we moved to analog to digital, and now no more digital, we're just going through the post-digital. So even assuming that we're only going through digital, but that's not the case. We're at post-digital, but of course the term ethics, just like the previous talk as you mentioned, again we just take it from content Aristotle, as you mentioned, and therefore in all these processes in the world that we live in, I can say we actually, especially from the art side, what we can convey to the next generations, we work on this, and also the ethics. Thank you for this brief summary. So we'll discuss both ethics and aesthetics with you from the art side, I guess. So I'll go back to you, especially about this issue of connectivity, what it means. And I think we have something in our minds, but in connected vehicles, especially for the users, what type of difference it would make? I mean, what would change in the lives of the users, if you can touch upon that? Of course, what we're doing is actually our own connected product, and to create some added value for our users and touch to their daily lives and to be on their side. Now, with our customers, whenever, for example, they purchase a vehicle, there's also the after-sales part. But now, thanks to connectivity, we are actually a part of our customers every single day. I mean, every day they're using our car. So it's interactive, so it's not like only after sales. So we, for example, understand that our users actually have more relations, closer relation with their vehicles, and they actually have safer drive. And with a mobile application at the same time, we can allow our customers, for example, to have remote access to their vehicles, for example, remote locking the door, unlocking, or open, for example, especially the trunk door. For example, if the kids forget, for example, by saying remote, very remote, I guess you mean. Yes, could be anywhere from Turkey. You have a car in Istanbul, for example, from anywhere, you can open up the door, get some fuel data, for example, in Istanbul traffic, how much fuel I have, the range, for example, you can get information on that. About the battery level or the tire settings, you can get information. Especially during the pandemics, we experienced it a lot. For example, for 20 days, we, for example, not use our cars and the battery is running out. And if we do not, for example, send in a notification to our customers, then they actually have to take the car to the service. So actually, it helped a lot for our users. And for example, if your car is towed, then you again get data, the location of your car. You possibly can get delivery of your car without getting into any panic. For example, in case of any car theft, this also happened, for example, you can even find your car thanks to that module. And at the same time, for example, there's the parent or mood. For example, if you go over 100 kilometers, then you get a warning. Or if you're out of, for example, 5 km of coverage. From the police department, in the points where there is the highest level of accident, also in the mapping system, we give a warning. And for example, 1 kilometer ahead, we again warn our users, and there's a special sound, an alarm. And if there's, for example, any breakdown of the vehicle with the data that we get during their travel, then we immediately have access to our users. And if, for example, they have to stop their cars, if it is a big, for example, problem, we ask them to do so, or we send a towing, for example, vehicle, or telling them to do not be in panic, just as an advice service. And also for drive, we have a scoring system, especially for acceleration, deceleration. And after each travel, we give some scores to the drivers. And besides that, we also have a scoring system. And in each travel, for example, if you go more slowly, then you can have fuel saving, these types of warnings that we give. Depending on the performance of driving. They can actually see all the travel details about millage and fuel consumption, and we offer added value system. Added value offers, for example, if it is quarter fuel tank, we give a warning and saying that you have to just go to the gas station. Again, during the pandemics, another thing. And we get some services for 365 days a year. That is the car insurance. Now we have a Risk Connect insurance and a product. So, and from the scoring of their performance for the good drivers, so there's more discount given. And at the same time, for those, so we give actually some different discounts. And especially if they did not use the car for 20 days, for example, again, this is actually reimbursed, give a paid back the time that they're not using their car. And therefore, they actually, it's also a saving, so it's an added value service, I can say. And of course, safety is so important. As I told you, we have an ambulance system in case of an accident, and we get data from the vehicle of the user, and immediately a call is made, and we cannot have access to them, then immediately an ambulance is referred to the location of the accident. And if, for example, there is a need for towing, then we do so, or if they're in need of an ambulance again, we do so. So from this perspective, I can say we also have a video that I would like to share with you. Yes, actually, that would be perfect, I guess.
Olası kaza anında müşteri ilgi merkezimiz sizi arar. Ulaşılamazsa bulunduğunuz yere ambulans gönderilir. Fiat Yol Arkadaşım Connect'ten ambulans hizmeti. Umarız hiç kullanmazsınız.
So,
Evet.
great video conveying the message, as you mentioned, connected vehicles is actually will totally change the behaviors of the users. They are life-saving, and at the same time, it also will help for ease of the problems that we have daily. For example, I forgot so many times where I park my car at the parking lot, or if, for example, they tout my vehicle, where it is, or sometimes whether there's any car theft or not. So it's okay. We understand the connected vehicles, and especially data is collected all the time, and offering solutions for convenience of the drivers. How about the cyber security issues in terms of the data, or about the personal protection, personal data protection? What are the measures that you are taking? And with the participation of 3,000 users, it's actually a survey in Turkey. And for the automobile users, with regards to the advanced in particular features, we check for the perception of the users. First of all, the consumers are totally actually relying on their vehicles, especially after the pandemics. We know actually there's so much traffic. So people actually prefer to use the personal cars rather than the mass transportation. They're skeptical about use of data. Although they have high interest in technology, they are not so sure about data security. And again, there is actually the need for improvement of the confidence of the people on autonomous vehicles. Of course, potentially, as you all know, there are so many issues, but it is quite a complicated system offered to the end user, and it's quite a complicated ecosystem. And therefore, sometimes there actually could be several risks. But in automobile users, of course, as the manufacturer or the companies working as the security, as also mentioned in the previous talk, we are working in collaboration. So, of course, so as to avoid all the risks for the connected cars, we're working at Bursa plant with the R&D IT teams. We had a 2-year work together. As a result of this, we developed this product. And again, there is actually another attempt taken for this product. And while designing the product, we also considered all the previous experiences of Fiat. And therefore, the cybersecurity policy is all taken into account. It's actually a high-level security product, 4-layer security system that we have. There is actually a chip, and there is a coding system, encryption system. From the device to the cloud, again, there is another security mechanism applied also at cloud. There is another coding system, so for the end-to-end use of the data. About personal protection data law, well, of course, it's all transparent. I mean, which data is used for what purpose, and what we shall not do with the data that they have in hand. We always give informed consent. We also have a law department, and we're working all together. And therefore, we make all the analysis, and at the same time, we actually have a cloud system, our own investment, and they're also capped by law. And of course, it's a part of mobility, it's a must for mobility. So we know very well about the rights of our users, and everything is by the law. And therefore, this is the only way that we can change the behaviors of the customers. And just like, for example, Connect insurance, we can offer added value to our users. So perfect summary. Thank you. By the way,
yayınımızı dinleyen eski
And one of the graduates of the academy, Zübeyda, made a comment and saying that connected vehicles, you remember there's a Black Rider, there is actually a movie and of our age. So it actually looks very much like that talking vehicle, because the smart car talking to the driver all the time. It also reminds me of that Black Rider. I don't know, maybe we will actually have the chance to actually use it, just like an autonomous vehicle in the near future. So from this perspective, my last question to you, and then I will move to Esra. In these connected vehicles, do you think it is just like a stop before autonomous vehicles? What is the connection between connected cars and autonomous cars? Great question. I told you about the 4 trends, you remember. It's all about connectivity in 4 of them. In automatic trends, especially also for autonomous vehicles, several data from the electrical components there are sent to the cloud. So it is again the connectivity module that also helps for the autonomous vehicles. Autonomous vehicles will bring the world a safer place, because thanks to this connectivity with the data that they have, and just like the black box in the accident, so it at the same time will provide so much data. It's a great tool. And 95% of the traffic accidents in Turkey due to other fault of the driver. And the traffic car accidents, as we all know, is ranking the 8th for cause of that worldwide. So it is quite high. With autonomous vehicles, as you all know, the responsibility is somehow given to the car. So trying to prevent any driver error. So connectivity is also a must for autonomous vehicles. But of course, as you all know, in case of accident by autonomous vehicles, who will be the defaulted party? It's actually quite a debate. And probably from the perspective of law, we don't know what would happen. But probably together in cooperation with the law department, we'll know about this. But especially, I can say, connectivity is actually the basis of the autonomous vehicles. So, and